This is Dan of Vagabond Awake. Today I'm going to explain to you why we've decided to go spend a few months in Mexico versus other choices we have. But first I want to show you the sky. I'm in California, as you know, and I'll do an update tomorrow with Chung, but I want to show you the sky here. You probably heard on the news there's a lot of fire. You might think the sky is clouded. There's not a cloud in the sky. That's pure smoke. And we're really, the nearest flame to us is probably 12 miles away. Probably more, 25 miles away. It's like the entire state is covered in smoke right now. In America, we generally think that our country is safe, or at least we're told it's a safe place by our government, often our State Department, and that other places around the world need to be rated and monitored and because they're unsafe. And so if you think about that, right now you'd probably want to stay home and just wait till the whole health issue blows over. But that's not necessarily true in this case. For example, if you look at the map for all of Europe, it's a dark yellow warning, and if you look at, for example, Mexico, Mexico as a country is even worse. It's all red. But if you drill down and look at the various areas around Mexico, for example, you'll see that some areas are light yellow, which is better than Europe. Other parts are red and considered more dangerous. And the country is broken down into states, if you will, or counties, and each one is rated differently. And so it's actually safer to be in many parts of Mexico than it is in Europe right now, and that's according to the State Department's map, which I'll show you. And I'll also show you the European map so you can get an idea of what the State Department considers to be a safe place to be. Now, the State Department doesn't rate the U.S. Because it's home, and so it's not going to rate how dangerous it is for Americans to go there because Americans live there. That would be pointless. But I venture to guess that if the State Department ranked the U.S., it would be a red place, which is a do not travel warning. Because statistically, the U.S. has 4% of the world population, but 25% of the deaths from the current pandemic. And so keep that in mind when you look at the map. That means that the U.S. is more dangerous than Europe. It's more dangerous in many parts of Mexico, and it's on par with South America. All of South America is rated, not all of it. Uruguay and Paraguay, and there's and a couple of other exceptions are ranked in the yellow groupings. And Central America is mostly red. And so what that means is that the U.S. is more dangerous than a lot of parts of the world right now, according to the State Department, according to the statistics of 25% of the deaths in the world, even though we only have 4% of the world population. And so I'll provide you with another link also that's a CNN link that talks about countries that Americans are allowed to travel to. And so if you're thinking of traveling right now, there's really only a few countries: Albania, Belarus, Brazil, Mexico, Serbia, Turkey, and Zambia, where you can just jump on a plane and fly there, assuming you can find a plane. And then there's a number of countries, which I'll provide you the link, you can see these, where once you arrive, you either need to arrive with a test within the last 48 or 72 hours showing you're negative, and then you might have to quarantine. So there's a number of other places you could go. And most of them, in my opinion, it doesn't really make sense to go to because they're limited, meaning you fly there, you enjoy it, and then you leave because there's nothing right next to them that you can go to next. As you know, I'm a slow traveler, so my whole goal whenever I go somewhere is to spend weeks, if not months, in the area that I fly into, so I get the most amount of travel possible for a single airfare. And so if you look at the world right now, that indicates that Mexico is a big win. Because you could fly to Mexico right now and you could travel around the safe parts of Mexico, according to the State Department, the yellow areas, and you could spend 6 months there. As an American, you can slow travel around Mexico for 6 months, and then you before you need to do a visa run to Guatemala or other places. And so the bang for your buck right now is Mexico, and there's a number of places that are yellow level, which means it's safer than than Europe, according to the State Department. And just to give you an idea, with respect to coronavirus, Mexico has 80,000 deaths with 126 million people. The U.S. has 191,000 deaths with 320 million people. And so it's 0.06% of the population has died in Mexico, which is about the same as the U.S. So it's equivalent in terms of death, but the death is more centralized in certain areas, and so I recommend staying in the yellow parts of Mexico, because that's where the State Department thinks there's less crime right now. And so that's what I wanted to tell you right now. What are those areas? And coincidentally, I've been to almost all of these areas in Mexico, and I have retired chief reports you can check out and read about each of these areas. So I'll just go ahead and tell you about each of them. In Mexico, and then I'll explain why 𝐶𝐈𝐈 and I have decided to go to Mexico for the next 6 months to wait out when the vaccine is created. And by the way, tomorrow 𝐶𝐈𝐈 and I will be doing an update tomorrow, Saturday morning, in other words. Okay, so in Mexico, in the Yucatan or Quintana Roo area of Mexico, those two areas is yellow, light yellow, rated by the State Department. And that includes places like Mérida, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, Puerto Morales, and Campeche. And then if you'll notice, as you sweep around towards the Pacific side of Mexico, that's the Caribbean side of Mexico. As you sweep around Mexico towards the Pacific side, you can see that places like San Cristobal, Chiapas is open, Oaxaca, Puerto Escondido. There's a number of places that are in the yellow, the safe zone. Also, Mexico City is in a yellow zone. It's quite secure there. Cabo San Lucas, that's the little tip that comes along off California. That part's all yellow, light yellow. Querétaro, that's the Silicon Valley of Mexico. That's the light yellow. Guanajuato is light yellow. San Miguel de Allende. And then also off the Yucatan, the island of Cozumel and Isla Mujeres are light yellow. Also, Puebla, which is a beautiful colonial city, is light yellow. So there's a lot of places you can go in Mexico where the State Department says it's just a light yellow. And so you have to be your own judge of whether or not it's right for you. But if you're trying to get outside of the U.S. and you want to do some traveling, do some slow traveling, which we like to do, that Mexico is a place you can go. Now you can hop on planes in all the major cities in the U.S. and be down in Mexico within a few hours. Many connect through Mexico City. As I say, we're going to Puerto Escondido, which is in Oaxaca, and you connect through Mexico City whether you're going through like Los Angeles or San Francisco or whatever. And so and I hear there's even some direct flights from different parts of the U.S. down there. So if you're interested in other areas other than the ones I listed, you can go, but you might have other parts of the world, I should say, other than Mexico, which is where we're going to go. Some have quarantines, some require tests, some require proof of insurance, which you should buy anyway. During while you're having health challenges, you should, or always really, if you can afford it, buy health insurance. so that if you end up in the hospital, you're not worried about having to pay for it. And so I'll put a link to the research that CNN did on where Americans can fly to. So that's my update. That's where we're going, and we haven't been to that part of Mexico. A lot of my friends have been there, really enjoyed it. And we're going to research the coast and let you know what the cute little areas in Oaxaca and southern Mexico along the Pacific coast. We'll be going there, and then we'll see what's next. If the vaccine comes out and we can get our vaccine, we'll go fly to wherever we need to get that. Maybe January, February, sometime then, when our visa in Mexico, our 6-month visa in Mexico runs out. So that is the update. Mexico is somewhere you can go, and I love Mexico. It's one of the first countries I ever went to. I've been going there for 35, really 40 years. It's 40 years now I've been going there. It is a beautiful place. I really enjoy it. I'm excited about it. 𝐶𝐈𝐕𝐈𝐍 excited about it. She was with me there in 2018. We just bought her ticket last night. She's flying from the Philippines through Tokyo to Mexico City, and then she'll connect down to Puerto Escondido where I'll be probably a week ahead of her or so. We'll get an Airbnb down there and spend a month or so there, and then we'll move up and down the coast in that part of Mexico and investigate the cute little towns around there and show you opportunities, what the cost of living is and whatnot. So thanks so much for watching this video about why you should go to Mexico if you have time, why it's a good choice right now. And if you've enjoyed it, please click like, leave a comment, subscribe, and make sure to come get a free copy of my ebook, How I Fired My Boss and Traveled the World for 13 Years. And check out our over 50 retired cheap reports all over the world at vagabondbuddha.com. This is Dan from Vagabond Awake, the YouTube channel for Vagabond Buddha. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day. Please click the link in the notes below this YouTube video to get a copy of this content.